Hello, and a warm welcome to our show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. Today, we will be reviewing the just concluded World Championships, which took place in Budapest, and what a competition that was. Turkish journalist Şevket Erbay sent us this video recap.
Hello everybody, this is Şevket from atleticspodium.com. We have some wrap-up about the championship in Budapest 2003. I have some important headlines from the championship. I start with Canada's big achievement in the championship with 4 gold. They have best ever result in the championship history. I think their previous best results coming from 90s, now 6 medals here, 4 gold and 2 silver, which is quite good achievement, and put them in the second position in the medal standing behind United States. Of course, some big surprises happened in the championship. One of them is Josh Kerr defeating Jakob Ingebrigtsen in 1500 meters final. In my notes, another surprise came from Daniela Williams of Jamaica. She is, of course, a former world champion, but disappeared after her success in Beijing. After 8 years, she once again got the gold in very close race ahead of Olympic champion Yasmin Camacho Queen, and she's one of the best stories in the championship so far. And of course, Laulaga Tausaga from United States, maybe most unexpected champion here in Budapest. Tausaga previously finished 12th 2 times in the championship, but now coming from 12th place after round 2, went to the gold very unexpected way ahead of Valeria Allman and Sandra Perkovic and Fang Bin, the defending champion. First day falls, one of the biggest surprises in the championship, but same Femke Bol also made the headlines during the championship because she got 2 golds, including last round gasp in 4x4 relay, very end of the championship today. I just checked my notes. Ivana Vuleta, one of the important names in current athletics. Ivana Vuleta has never won the world championship title previously, and she finally got the gold with 7:14 amazing jump in women's long jump final. More or less same we can say about Gianmarco Tamberi. He has also first world championship gold here in Budapest. Very close competition between Joan Harrison of United States. Yet another name we should be mentioned here, Noah Lyles, of course. He got 3 gold medal here, mostly expected championships titles, but somebody expect a little bit fast time in 200 meters. He won the 200 meter race in 1953, which is quite good time, but everybody expecting a little bit lower, around 1930. But of course, weather doesn't allow so much to better times. Karsten Warholm, Yulima Rojas, Armand Duplantis, 3 of great star names in the athletics right now, leaving with gold from Budapest in their respective events. But of course, Yulima Rojas just escaping from big surprise in last attempt, and Armand Duplantis trying to world record, but just missed. United States back to the relay territory in full. They won 4 of 5 relay races in the end, and they proved the greatest power especially in the relay race. They proved once more. Last but not least, I want to mention to Li Jiagong, the Chinese great star. Li Jiagong compete here in the World Championship for 9th time, and she won 8 World Championship medal in Budapest, 2 golds, 3 silver and 3 bronze medal. A shot put competition in very long time, 14 years span, is quite huge achievement for Li Jiagong. Yeah, that's all from my notes. Summarized some of the important Thanks to you. See you next time in Budapest. See you, everybody.
Thank you, Şevket. Let's look now at the various records set in Budapest. One world record was registered at this edition of the World Championships in the mixed relay 4x400 meters, where the US quartet of Justin Robinson, Rosie Effiong, Matthew Bowling, and Alexis Holmes clocked 3:08.80 to win by over 2 seconds over Great Britain and the Czech Republic. And as we remember, there was drama in this event as Femke Bol cramped up and fell, and we will talk about it later. There was also a world under 20 record by Jamaica's Roshan Clark in the semi-final of the 400-meter hurdles, where he clocked 47.34 to become the sole under 20 world record holder. Clark had equaled Sean Burrell's then record of 47.85 at the Jamaican trials in early July before destroying it in Budapest. And the talented Jamaican then finished fourth in the final. Championships records. There were a total of 7 of them in the Hungarian capital. In the shot put men, Ryan Krauser with an amazing 23 meters 51. In the discus throw by Daniel Stahl, 71 meters 46. Among the women, 100 meters Shakari Richardson and 200 meters Sharika Jackson. In the 35 kilometers race walk by Spain's Maria Perez, the 4x100 meter women relay of the US, and obviously world record is also a championship record for the US mixed relay. So we will continue our statistical recap later, but now it's time to focus on the stories. And we will look at the following: extraordinary athletes and rising stars, dramas and major surprises, and country trends. Of course, we start with the extraordinary athletes. So Faith Kipyegon cemented her spectacular legacy in Budapest, taking her 3rd consecutive 1500-meter gold, while adding another gold over the 5,000 meters, a distance where she had set one of the 3 world records in 2023, but which she rarely contested till this year. Spanish journalist Javier González Amat tells us why he thinks Faith Kipyegon is the athlete of the championships. And he had recorded the video before the 5,000 meters, which will definitely have confirmed his conviction that Kipyegon is the greatest ever female middle and long distance runner.
Hola Ana, pues durante el Mundial de Budapest hemos tenido carreras muy interesantes, pero si me tuviese que quedar con una, seguramente elegiría la final del 1500 femenino que ganó Faith Kipyegon, no solo porque consiguió una victoria, sino por cómo la consiguió, porque dominó la carrera de principio a fin. Había rivales de la talla de Sifan Hassan, que era muy peligrosa, pero Kipyegon tomó el liderato de la prueba desde la primera curva y ya no soltó la posición delantera hasta el final. Dominó de principio a fin, demostrando por qué es la plusmarquista mundial de 1500 y de 5000, y también demostrando que esas marcas no son casualidad. Además, conseguir un 3er título mundial en 1500 es una cosa totalmente extraordinaria. Estamos ante la mejor corredora de 1500 de la historia y además también es dominadora en el 5000. Para mí es una atleta completa, es una atleta fantástica y creo que no tiene todo el reconocimiento que tienen otros atletas, y con las marcas y las gestas que está consiguiendo, la verdad considero que se lo merece.
Gracias, Javier. Now, Lowell Lyles had run a fantastic 200 meters in Oregon 22, and he was already claiming he was the fastest runner of his day. In Budapest, he proved that this was true, taking gold in the 100 meters, 200 meters, and sprint relay with performances which were among the very best of the championships. So hats off to Noah. Ryan Krauser had a very difficult few weeks before the World Championships, as he discovered he had 2 blood clots in his lower leg, which not only caused pain and disrupted his training, but also could make plane travel problematic. Finally, Krauser and his medical team decided they could travel to Budapest, and the American showed why he is such a champion with another impressive series capped by a humongous last round effort of 23 meters 51, just 5 centimeters short of his own world record. Amazing, Ryan Krauser. Venezuela's star triple jump Yulimar Rojas already had 3 World Championships golds and was very keen to earn another outdoor title to tie her illustrious coach, Ivan Pedroso, who had won 4. So she was unusually tense, lagging behind her competitors, but managed to take the lead and the gold in the last attempt, landing at 15 meters 08. Mondo Duplantis took only his second World Championships gold in Budapest, but he is a head and shoulders above his competitors, and he again won with a big margin, even though the final was of very high quality. 6 meters 10 for Mondo, 6 meters equaled area record for EJ Obiena, and 5 meters 95 for Curtis Marshall and Chris Nielsen, who shared bronze. Now, Gianmarco Tamberi had one major medal missing from his resume, and he was determined to remedy that in Budapest. And he did complete his collection, winning with a first-time clearance at 2 meters 36, while the USA's Juvon Harrison needed 2. And his great friend, Mutaz Barshim, took bronze with 2 meters 33. Now, Tamberi is famous for his celebrations, and he added some memorable ones in Budapest. And it says a lot about the global popularity of the Italian high jumper that almost 2 hours after the end of his competition, there were still not only Italian, but also international journalists in the mix zone waiting to speak to him. And the international group greeted him with a big round of applause. Italian journalist Giulia Zonca analyzed Tamberi's performances, pointing out how he had frozen his adversaries in the warm-up when he asked to put the bar at 2 meters 30 and successfully cleared it on the first attempt.
Gianmarco Tamberi ci ha detto di essere l'umano che ha battuto gli extraterrestri, però io ho avuto la sensazione di aver visto una trasformazione qui a Budapest con questo suo oro mondiale che, come bene ormai sappiamo tutti quanti, era l'ultimo titolo che gli mancava e anche quello che gli permette di essere definito il vincitore di tutto, che magari è solo un'etichetta e una di quelle che pure stufa, però in questo momento ad oro fresco significa molto e significa che lui è entrato qui da campione ed è uscito da fenomeno per diversi motivi. Per la vittoria e per l'oro, che sono i più banali ed evidenti, per il modo in cui se l'è preso, per questo modo in cui ha saputo smontare gli avversari e lo ha fatto con una certa cattiveria che magari non è esattamente la dote che uno abbinerebbe a un uomo così estroverso, ma la cattiveria in gara fa sempre la differenza e lui è stato così perfido da saltare 2,30 in riscaldamento, da sbattere in faccia agli altri la sua forma. Quello che è esaltante quando hai la forza di dire ok, io sono questo, se ne avete di più fate vedere, ma intanto io sono questo. Per vincere dovete battere me così. E non solo, oltre a questo, che già è uno schiaffo in faccia a chiunque entri in una gara, ci aggiunge questa sua capacità di dialogare con il pubblico, con il suo pubblico che si porta dietro a trascinare gli altri e che contagiano, perché lui dà energia, interagisce, fa cose che fanno pochissimi atleti, specialità diverse, globalità diversa, ma era da Bolt che non si vedeva una tale bolgia per una gara, che non si vedevano settori dello stadio, perché poi magari venivano inquadrati semplicemente, veniva inquadrata la curva che sta dietro di lui, quindi anche piena di azzurri, di maglie azzurre, di suoi parenti, di suoi amici, ma quello che è stato pazzesco è come quella curva piano piano si sia allargata mano a mano che cresceva la gara, mano a mano che cresceva lui, e dopo quel 2,36 che gli è valso alla fine l'oro, lo stadio guardava lui. Lo fanno anche con Duplantis, che però ha tutto un altro modo di attirare su di sé l'attenzione, con il silenzio, con questo procedere passo dopo passo, con questo aspettare che non ci sia nessuna gara per fare quel salto perfetto mentre ci sei solo tu in azione. Jimbo invece chiama l'attenzione, la ruba, la sposta, cioè è proprio magnetico, e ingloba pure la carica che gli arriva da questo suo essere, secondo lui, essere come a casa sua, cioè in pedana come a casa mia, per essere tanto a mio agio da spiazzare gli altri, ed è quello che probabilmente pensa lui, ma quello che arriva è che lui è padrone di quella scena assoluta e totale, e quindi è coinvolgente e nel contempo spaventoso per i suoi avversari. Vederli mettere insieme tutto questo mix senza più tutta quella voglia di rivincita che c'era alle Olimpiadi, era tutto un altro romanzo, una fantastica vittoria, lui dice qualcosa di cui non mi dimenticherò mai più, ma tutto un altro tipo di vittoria. Quella era la vittoria del campione che assolutamente voleva reagire a un destino avverso e voleva raccontarlo. Questa è la vittoria di un fuoriclasse, e averlo visto è stata un'emozione pazzesca.
Grazie Giulia. And a special mention, of course, to Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, who was dreaming of a 7th individual title. Her 6 World Championship golds are already a record, but had to be content with bronze in the 100 meters, taking her World Championship medal total to an amazing 16, of which 8 in the relays and 8 in individual events. Now, let's talk about rising stars. And I hesitated whether to put Sha'Carri Richardson among the extraordinary athletes or the rising stars, but opted for the latter, though given her talent, she is sure to move into the first category very, very soon. Chitzius Mag journalist Caitlin Hutchinson tells us why Sha'Carri's 100-meter gold is so special.
Okay, my most exciting moment of the championships was when Sha'Carri won the 100. Let me tell y'all why that had me literally jumping out of my seat, because so we all know, like, with her first major championship, like, she wasn't able to come due to some AIU and USADA issues, and so for her to finally win USA's, actually get the chance to come out and work for the title and actually do it was so amazing and happy for me. And where I was sitting, like, it looked like it was close between her and Sharika. So I was literally sitting there looking at the board and I was like, girl, I pray to God that you cross that finish line first. Numbers came up 10:65 and I was like, she literally did it. I literally couldn't contain myself, because it was like, for everything that she's been through, everything that people have said about her, everything that has literally gone against her, hasn't gone her way, for her to come out to a world championship on her first try and win a gold medal as young as she is, nothing tops it so far. So that's my moment.
Thank you, Caitlin. And at just 20 years of age, Letsile Tebogo had an excellent world championship, earning the first medals for Botswana's men, silver in the 100 and bronze in the 200. And he is another athlete who really looks set to have an absolutely brilliant future. So let's look at dramas now and major surprises. And of course, the top pick is the Netherlands Black Day on the first day of competition and Final Redemption. Dutch superstar Femke Bol and Sifan Hassan both fell meters from the finish line in the space of 10 minutes on day one when they were battling for gold. But on the very last event of the championships, Bol had a chance to redeem herself and she didn't miss it. Her teammates had run a great race, especially Lieke Klaver in the second leg, who was timed by PJ Vazel in 48.71, the fastest split of the competition, even faster than Bol. Bol picked up the baton in third position and made a powerful drive to the finish to overtake Great Britain and Jamaica in the final meters of the race. A brilliant ending to a spectacular World Championship. Of last year's World Championship in both result and manner, but Norway's Jakob Ingebrigtsen was defeated again by a British athlete in the 1500 meters, this time by Josh Kerr, in one of the upsets of the 2023 World Championships. As he did last year, Ingebrigtsen bounced back to take the 5,000 meters title. Two surprises. Pakistan's javelin thrower Arshad Nadim had already placed fifth in Oregon 22 and won the Commonwealth Games, but in Budapest he surpassed himself with a throw of 87 meters 82 to take the first ever medal for his country in a final won by India's Olympic champion Neeraj Chopra, and where two other athletes from India placed fifth and sixth, in the clearest example of the increasing diversification of athletics. But an even bigger surprise was registered in the women's event, where Colombia's Flor Denise Ruiz Hurtado improved her PB by over 1.5 meters to take silver with 65.47, only missing out on the gold medal when Japan's Haruka Kitaguchi overtook her in the last attempt. Still, Ruiz was delighted with her performance, the first medal by a Colombian woman since the days of Catherine Ibarguen was dominating the triple jump. One of several great comebacks in Budapest came from British Virgin Islands' Kyron McMaster, who took silver in the 400-meter hurdles in 47.34 behind the great Karsten Warholm. McMaster had been fourth in both the 2019 World Championships and the Tokyo Olympics. US journalist Anderson Emerald tells us why this medal was his favorite moment of the championships.
Hey everyone, Anderson Emerald here, and I just wanted to speak about my favorite moment from the 2023 World Championships in Budapest, Hungary. Now, my favorite moment was watching Kyron McMaster from the British Virgin Islands win a silver medal in the men's 400-meter hurdles. This is my favorite moment for two specific reasons. First off, Kyron McMaster has had a journey and an amazing story to get onto this podium. In 2017, he was disqualified out of the heats of the 400-meter hurdles at the World Championships. Then in 2019, he made it to the final, but only finished fourth place just off the podium. Once again, at the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo, he finished fourth place just off the podium in what turned out to be one of the greatest races in the 400-meter hurdles in history. And then in 2022, he unfortunately was unable to make it out of the heats of the 400-meter hurdles. So for him to come over all those setbacks, to overcome adversity, and to make it onto the podium in 2023 really is an amazing story for Kyron McMaster. Finally, the second reason is what this means for the British Virgin Islands. This is the first medal ever at the World Championships for the British Virgin Islands that Kyron McMaster won here. So for him to get silver, for him to represent his country, a country that only has less than 30,000 people, which I think is less than the amount of people that were in the stadium in Budapest every single day, this definitely means a lot for his nation and really means a lot for that representation. There was less than, I think, 3 or 4 athletes for the British Virgin Islands representing and competing at the World Championships. So again, first medal for the British Virgin Islands, first medal for Kyron McMaster after a couple chances at the World Championships. That's my favorite moment from the 2023 World Championships in Budapest.
Thank you, Anderson. Now, before we look at country trends, we need to take a look at the medal table. So US topping it with 12 golds and 29 medals in total. Not quite the record medal haul from Oregon 22, but still US solidly in command. And as Shevket pointed out at the beginning of our show, Canada and Spain were the major surprises, each winning 4 golds. For Spain, they were obtained by 2 athletes in the race walks, while Canada surprisingly won both men and women's hammer throws, as well as the decathlon and the 800-meter men. Jamaica improved their total from 2022 with 3 goals, including a comeback by Danielle Williams in the 100-meter hurdles, the ever-dependable Sherika Jackson with gold in the 200 meters, and a more surprising win by Antonio Watson in the 400 meters. Kenya and Ethiopia are lucky to have their Wonder Women, as the men were rather disappointing. And the negative surprise came from Germany, which did not win a single medal, while France was able to take theirs, a silver, in the second to last event of the championships, the men's 4x400 meter relay. New countries to medal. Burundi won their first gold medal in the triple jump with Hugues Fabrice Zongo. India also won their first gold with Neeraj Chopra. Kyron McMaster, as we said, won the very first medal, a silver, for the British Virgin Islands. And Pakistan won the first, obtained its first ever medal, a silver, in the javelin throw with Arshad Nadim. So we looked earlier at championships records, and let's take a look now at the area records. And 11 of these were set in Budapest. Among the men, in the 400 meters, Matthew Hudson Smith in the semifinals set a record, a European record. In the pole vault, E.J. Obiena equaled his area record with 6 meters. In the 35 kilometers race walk, Brian Daniel Pintado, Ecuador and South America record. And in the 4x400 meter relay, in the heats, India clocked an Asia record. Among the women, 3 records were set, one for each round. In the 400 meter hurdles by Bahrain's Kemi Adekoya. In the javelin, as we saw, Flor Denise Ruiz Hurtado was also an area record. In the 100 meters women, the relay, Ivory Coast in the heats clocked an African record. Then, unfortunately, they didn't finish in the final. And finally, in the 20 kilometers race walk, Australia's Jemima Montag set an Oceania record. And of course, mixed relay by the US is also an area record. And finally, let's check out which were the top performances registered at the 2023 World Championships. We will not look at the full list of performances worth over 1,240 points, as there's too many to count. But we will instead raise the bar even further and list only 5 of the very best, all worth over 12,060 points, and list them in decreasing order rather than by event order. So here they are. So the most humongous performance came in the shot put by Ryan Krauser, 23 meters 51, which is worth mind-blowing 1,331 points. Totally amazing, especially given, as we saw, the background to his preparation for the World Championships. Noah Lyles, 19.52. Again, very, very fast, not quite as fast as last year in Oregon, but still a super performance. In the pole vault, Mondo Duplantis, 6 meters 10, also very, very good. And then Karsten Warholm, 46.89 in the final and 47.09 in the semifinal. Now, other performances which are worth more than 1,270 points include the US men's sprint relay, 37.38, Rai Benjamin in the semifinals with 47.24, and Daniel Stahl in the discus with 71 meters 46. Among the women, Shericka Jackson's time of 21.41 was only 4 hundredths away from the world record by the late Flojo, and it was definitely by far the best performance among the women, again over 1,300 points. Now, Sha'Carri Richardson was also extremely fast with 10.65. She equaled the world lead which Shericka Jackson had set earlier in the year. Femke Bol in the 400-meter hurdles, 51.10, also a very 51.70, also a very good mark. The women's 4x100 relay was also very fast with 41.03, and Shericka Jackson also has a very good mark in the 100 meters where she came second with 10.72. We will examine top marks by under 20 and under 18 athletes next week. Now I'd like to highlight some cool athletics news and images from Budapest. Ukrainian 400-meter hurdler Victoria Tkachuk reached the semifinals in her event, finishing 6th in her heat, but that was not the end of her work in Budapest. A keen photographer, Tkachuk was allowed to switch her athlete's accreditation for one as a photographer and followed the rest of the competition as a member of the media. And here are some of her pictures of fellow athletes. In particular, she was delighted to see the success of her training partner, Femke Bol, and of course of her compatriot, triple jumper Marina Beck-Romanchuk. Congratulations to Slovak race walk duo Dominik Černý and Hanna Burzalova. Both were competing in the 35 kilometers event on the same day, and Dominik waited for Hanna at the finish line after completing his race with a ring and a marriage proposal, which Hanna was delighted to accept. And finally, let's take a look at someone who was clearly having a blast in Budapest, Yoo-Hoo, the mascot. So that concludes our World Championships wrap-up. Let's check out the upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. We have, of course, the final legs of the Diamond League, but also several others high-level meetings. So top events of the next fortnight on 30 to 31st August, Weltklasse Diamond League meeting in Zurich. On 2 September, Wanda Diamond League meeting in Xiamen, China for the first time. Then a series of World Continental Tour Silver meetings. On 3 September, the classic ISTAF meeting in Berlin. 4 September, Gala dei Castelli in Bellinzona, Switzerland. And 5 September, the silver hammer in Szombathely, Hungary. On Friday 8th, last Diamond League meeting in Europe, Memorial Van Damme. On the 10th, Memorial Borisa Hanesekovic in Zagreb, Gold World Continental Tour Gold, and the Diamond League finals in Eugene on the 16th and 17th of September. So we're now at the end of our show. It was great having our colleagues with us on the show through their videos. Thanks to all of them, and thank you all for watching. See you next week on Love Athletics to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what's been happening in our sport over the past 7 days. We also have lots of athletes' interviews from the World Championships, which we couldn't continue to post on a daily basis as I had a bad fall in Budapest, but we will publish compilations by language in the coming days. So stay tuned. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.